So oftentimes when we get in LAS well log data, we have missing data throughout the file. Sometimes it's good chunks of a curve, sometimes it's a sporadic data point here or there. When we pull the data into the JTIPS well log modeler, any curve that's missing data is identified to us in several ways. First of all, as we've mentioned, on the flag, there's a little flag next to the node in the tree, and if I hold the mouse over it, it tells me what that flag is for, and it says contains missing data. We need to fill it in. Also, if I'm showing the data on the charts, any place it's missing is going to have a pink shaded area. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit real quick, and we'll ignore it until we come back to the very end. But this is my P wave curve over here that has been computed as a function of the sonic curve. And if I zoom in, okay, I can see that I'm missing data from the top of my well log to, in this case, about 300 meters. And if I scroll down, everything looks good. And as I get to the bottom, I notice I'm missing some at the end. All right, I'm not going to worry. I could edit the P-wave data, or I could edit the source data from where it comes from. We're always generally a little better to edit the source data. And when I do that, when I come back, this computation will take into account anything that we've edited on the source. In this case, the source for the P-wave is the sonic. So the way I'm going to take care of the missing data, I'm going to click on the sonic, and I can go to Curves, Edit, or I can right mouse on it and hit Edit Curve Data. And then this is going to pop up, and then this is my sonic. It tells me at the top that we're going to edit the data for the sonic. And we can see that I'll zoom all, that we're missing data at the top and the bottom. Now the cool thing that we do at JTIPS is we tell it that its data is missing at these depths. In this case at 0 meters, and then again at about 1600 meters. The reason this is important, you think, well, that's not that big a deal. I've got this huge pink area. Of course I'm missing data. But we're missing data at the bottom. You can't really see that. I'll zoom in right down the bottom, and now I can see where I'm missing data. Sometimes if you're just missing one or two random points, you'll never see it until you zoom in really close. So rather than scrolling through and going point by point, you're going to go and use this information to tell you what to do. So now what we want to do is we want to fill in this missing data. So I'm going to start this at the top. It really doesn't matter if we start at the top or the bottom. But I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. Okay, and so I can see where the data begins, and I have this bit that's missing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an edited zone. Now there are a lot of things we can do with edited zone. Now at the top and the bottom here, it's really not too crucial. We know that, and I'll zoom in really close here. Okay, that this is our curve. That we really just, if we just dropped a straight line down to the bottom at 0 feet, then we'd probably be fine, which is what I'm going to do. So I come in here and I'm going to say New Zone. I can click right here. There's a button here that says Add Edit Zone, or I can hit in the table up here, Add Edit Zone, and it's going to pop up. I'm going to hit Cancel right now because that's one way to do it. If I click on this, then it's going to ask me to drag it. Now all I do is drag. I'm going to go a little bit further, and it pops up and it says Average. Now if I do Average, it's going to take whatever data is at the in there that we do have and create the average of it. There's not a whole lot of data. I can also do linear. What that will do, that will take the best value at either end. In this case, there's only one end, and it will draw it as a constant value to the other side of our curve. So I'm going to hit Accept, and now you can see I've got a line in here. Now where did it get that data point? Let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay, it picked up that data point, and I can actually show the data points, which is kind of fun. It's an option that's in the toolbar. So I can see the actual data point. So it picked up that data point where I put that zone, and it just dropped a line right in there. Okay. Now, here's a cool thing we can do. We're going to move that zone. And it's going to, you'll see the linear value that we have changed. What I'm doing is I'm clicking here and dragging up, and I'm getting, when I get to the last good data point, it's going to use that value. If I come all the way up here and get rid of all those things, it would use that value. And I'll zoom back out, and we can see that curve. And I'll drag again, till we don't want the pink stuff. Okay, now we're no longer missing data. I'll turn the points off because it's a little crowded. Okay, now when that value's here, so now what we're saying is our sonic from 0 meters to about 350. It's just going to be a constant value at about 140 microseconds per feet. Now what I can do is I have some of the things. I can shift the entire curve, this estimated region, and I hit the little button here and I shift it, and it increments it by a value of 1. I can change that if I wanted to. I can shift it to the right. I could shift the top, which just shifts the top, and I can shift the bottom. Okay, so you can get the curve behaving as you like. Now one thing we'll notice is down the bottom it's telling us, whereas before we had missing data at 0 meters, we're only missing data now at 1612 meters. I'm going to scroll all the way down, and I'm going to zoom in around here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go insert a zone, I'll drag it from here to here, it can go beyond, pop up, and I'm going to say linear. Okay, so now it's popped in this value, and again I can drag it down. Where do I want it picking up? So that's fine. So now I have that value there. Now down at the bottom it says no missing curve data. So what I've done is I've gotten rid of the missing data. If I had other points throughout there, I would handle them in the same way. I'm going to slide this over here for a second, just so that we get back to it. Now, if you recall, over here back on the main screen, this is our P-wave curve that has missing data. The reason it has missing data is because the sonic has missing data. The sonic no longer has missing data. So when I hit accept, you'll notice that I no longer have missing data in the P-wave because it's using what I've estimated and filled in for the missing data on the sonic to compute itself, even as we go all the way up to the top, the quick way. Okay, here's that linear piece of data I put in there. Now you'll also notice the density filled in as well, that similar curve. Well, the reason is because we did an estimated density value here that we can come back to later. So that's the quick and easy way that we can fill in missing data. Now we don't need to fill in missing data on every parameter. Okay, that might take too much time. But when we go to create synthetics, we need a P-wave, a density, a shale volume, and a shear wave, particularly if we're doing AVO. If we're missing data for any of those curves, we're not going to be able to produce a synthetic. So you need to be able to fill in the data on those key curves in order to be able to create a synthetic. And if you tried to create a synthetic with missing data, JTIPS will be happy to tell you that you're missing some data and go fix it before you create the synthetic.